Hello guys, and welcome to another live English class. I'm Christian and this is Canguro English. If you are not connected with me on social media, then you must because I run a Facebook group with Pasquale from Italy, and it's amazing. It's a place where you can express yourself in a positive environment. Also, my Instagram is lit. Check it out. Instagram/Canguro English, Facebook/Canguro English. And also this class is made possible by all of my incredible patrons on Patreon. So if you would like to sponsor free education, then you can become a patron. All of the links are below. Okay, how are you? How are you all? Lots of incredible students already. We have Adrian from Argentina. Hola, Adrian. Bienvenido. We have Polucio from Ukraine. No, Poluxio in the Ukraine. Anya from Russia. Mangur. Angelica in Brazil. Sanket. Marian, Gosia, Jorge Miranda. Phung Linh in Vietnam. Tran Nhung Hoang in Vietnam. My Vietnamese pronunciation is incredible. A Korean student. I don't know how to read Korean. It looks like your name is a percentage sign and then a robot, and then I'm sorry, I don't know how to read Korean script. Caesar in Venezuela, Patricia in France, Otavio in Brazil, Sanket. Thank you, Sanket. It's true, my Instagram is lit. Luza in Brazil, Isis Ares, Leopoldo, Homeira Hosseini. Anya from Russia says that she's a little bit ill today. I'm sorry, Anya, to hear that. Get better soon, please. The best secret cure for any illness is a hot toddy. Okay, a hot toddy is hot water or milk, depends if you prefer hot water or milk, with honey and cloves. Honey cures everything, no? And cloves, they're a little black spice. And the most important ingredient, the number one ingredient, of course, whiskey. That's what makes the hot toddy cure everything, whiskey. Oh, and also lemon, of course. You have to put a squeeze of lemon in your hot toddy. DR in Kurdistan, Stealth Soldier in Italy, hello Washington. Okay, so many different countries represented. I'm very happy to have you all here. I'm going to be perfectly honest. It's been a really busy week. The past 2 weeks have been crazy, and I haven't had time to prepare anything for today's class. I'm sorry. So today I'm going to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, please ask me. And already I have a question here in the chat from Caesar, who wants to know all about the word odd. Great word. So, odd is a word in English that has a few different meanings, but its principal meaning is related to mathematics. So there are two different types of numbers in English, odd and even. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, they are even numbers. So the other numbers are odd. 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, etc. Okay, they're odd numbers. Now I am at the limits of my mathematical abilities. That's it. But now odd numbers are a little bit strange, right? They're strange because you cannot, well, if you divide them, you have you don't have if you divide them in half, you have not an even product, right? So half of 1 is 0.5, and half of 3 is 1.5, etc. So they are not, they don't produce a nice number. They produce another odd number. So odd is like a synonym for strange, okay? Something that doesn't fit, something that's not the same as something else. So you could use it to describe a person. You could say, that Jose, he's a bit odd, as in a little bit strange. He doesn't fit nicely in normal society. So the first meaning of odd is mathematics, and the second one is odd like strange. And the third one that I can think of right now is to say that something doesn't belong. And there's a very common game that children play called Odd One Out. So the odd one out is when you have a list of things and you have to decide which thing doesn't belong on the list, which one is odd, which one doesn't fit. So for example, cow, goat, and another farm animal. Chicken. So, which animal doesn't fit on the list? Tell me. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the chicken doesn't fit because a cow and a goat, they are ruminants. Ruminants, they chew their food. Ruminants. And the chicken is not. The chicken is a bird. I have no idea. So he's the chicken is the odd one out. And also very good. See, there's other criteria. 1002 Chandra says that the cow and the goat have horns. Horns. Horns, but the chicken has no horns. And also, yes, mammals. You see, there's different criteria. And there's one phrase that I can think of, an idiom, a set phrase in English, which is odds and ends. Odds and ends means odds, things that don't fit, like things that are extra. And ends, well, what it means that it's like bits and pieces, little things that have no home, they have no purpose. Like everybody in their house, they have a drawer, okay? A drawer with odds and ends, an odds and ends drawer with batteries and coins and rubbish, basically. So yeah, this is a binomial. If you're interested in learning more about binomials, I made a class about it. You should Google it. Binomials are very interesting. Binomials like this, odds and ends, are more common than phrasal verbs. They're very important in English. So check it out. Yes, and very good, Shapur. You're absolutely right. Okay, so there's you can use another phrase, odd socks. Oops. Odd socks. I think actually now it's quite fashionable to wear odd socks. One red and one blue. They're odd. And this reminds me of a Spanish joke that somebody told me yesterday, which is, how do you spell calcetines in English? How do you spell socks in English? Okay? ¿Cómo se deletrea calcetines en English? Eso sí que es. Eso sí que es. It's a bad joke. Terrible joke. Okay, so... okay, let's have another look at see if there's any more questions. And yes, you're right. A cow and a goat have no wings, but a chicken has wings. What a great word, horn. This word horn is hidden in a lot of other words that I can think of. Like, for example, this word. Look at that. Do you see this word hidden? Unicorn, one horn. It's a one-horned creature. It's a great word, the horn, yes. Okay. Okay. Hello to Hernandez Garcia in Guatemala. Nice to have you in class. Okay, let's have a look and see if there's any more questions. So, okay, something a little bit more philosophical from a student in here called Estella. And she uses a very famous quote. And I'm not sure who said it. It might have been Benjamin Franklin. He said that. He said, a language is a dialect with an army. Basically, there's a problem in the world of languages where some languages are considered real, true, correct languages, like British English and American English. And other forms of English, like African American vernacular English, or I prefer Black English, or, Irish English, Scottish English, even little variants like Estuary English or Cumberland English. They are not considered a language, they're considered a dialect. And some people say, that they're not considered a language because they don't have enough power. That really the definition of language and dialect is about power. And yes, I think it's absolutely true. But the problem is that before you can say it's a language, it's a dialect, you have to define what is a language, what's the difference between a language and a dialect. And as you know, if you're studying linguistics, linguists do not have a common definition that they all agree on of what is a language and what is a dialect. It's actually really, really difficult to say. And until you have a definition, the question is purely philosophical, really. The important thing to remember is that all variants of language are valid. All variants are valid. And what you think is correct, not just in English, but in your language, if you go back in the past, even just if you go back 50 years, then there are things which are very, very different. Okay? I'll give you an example. In English, we used to have a tense called the passival, okay? And it was used to talk about things that are happening now at this time. It was a friend of the present continuous. So you would say, for example, the house is building. And if you look at this now, in modern standard English, it doesn't make sense because we say, well, this is the subject. So the house is building something. This is not possible because a house cannot build things. It's a house, not a human, right? But in the past, and not a long time ago, I'm talking between 50 and 100 years ago, this was perfectly correct. The house is building. Now we don't say this. We say the house is we would use the passive. The house is being built. Now, for anybody who speaks English today, the first one is weird and incorrect, and the second one is correct English. But if you went back 100 years, a famous quotation about this new passive construction, they said that it assaulted the senses, that it was an affront to common sense, to good English. People hated this, but how quickly our opinions change about what is correct language and incorrect language. And when you're learning a language, that's something that you should always remember, okay? When somebody tells you that, you don't want to speak like that, that people in New York have no idea about English, or, people from London speak badly, or, it's just not true. Those are prejudiced opinions. All forms of language are valid in their own way, and that's a beautiful thing. Language is a democracy, and that's what I love about it, especially English, which is very democratic. I'm sorry that I talked a lot about that. I hope that you found that interesting anyway. Yes, okay, so look, let me tell you about my injury. So you see this? Okay, this? Because winter is coming. And this last weekend, I was chopping wood for the fire so that I would have firewood for winter, and I cut my head on a piece of wood. I'm an idiot. So that's what happened. And I'm red because wow, it's hot in here. Okay, let me have a look at some questions. I'm sorry that I was talking so much about things. Okay, so a question from let me try and go in chronological order here. Okay, so Yes. So to answer your question today I haven't prepared anything. I'm just answering your questions. Okay. Um, so let me have a look. A question. Where is there a question? Okay. Let's have a look. Okay. Question from Andrea about pronunciation. Andrea wants to know about schwa. Okay. So, schwa is the most common sound in all of English. Okay? And all unstressed vowels are schwa. What is schwa? Schwa is zombie sound. Zombie. And it's actually really easy to pronounce, okay? You just have to relax everything. Relax your tongue. Your tongue sits like this. This is just like relaxed, okay? Like, like a zombie, okay? Like this. Your cheeks are relaxed. Everything's relaxed. And you just produce the sound. This is schwa. This word, for example, contains two schwas. Here we have a stressed A. So this is ah. You see my mouth is really open. Look. Ah. But these two A's that are not stressed, they will be schwa. And if you want to sound more English, then yes, you should try to introduce schwa. So the pronunciation would be banana. And you can see in the middle that but here and here, nothing, relaxed. Banana. And faster. Banana, banana, banana. So practicing your zombie sound is really important, and yes, it can definitely help you sound, more like an English speaker. It can make you easier to understand. So Shapur wants to know, is Australian English a dialect? Again, impossible to say without a definition, but honestly, people like to talk about the big differences between British English and American English. Teachers are on YouTube saying, I teach British English, or I teach American English, or I teach Australian English. But really, when you look at the differences, they're not that great. There's as much difference between somebody from Manchester and somebody from London as there is from somebody from London to somebody from Australia. Okay? It's different, yes, but is it that different? I think it's a difference that I could probably summarize in 2 pages. The grammar is the same, apart from maybe a few little, quirks. Pronunciation can be different, yes, very different, but also within a country. Think about American English. You have the Boston accent. Have you heard the Boston accent? They they have a very strange accent. It's famous, Boston. Car keys. It's really different. So I hope that answers your question. Is it a language? I would say that it's a form of English. Dialect. I don't know. Okay. So in Russia, you have the passival. Very interesting. Very interesting. In Hungarian, you say the house is building. Yeah, I mean, Like in Spanish you couldn't. In Italian, French, I don't know. Maybe it seems to me like Russian, Hungary, like Eastern Europe. Maybe you have the passival, the house is building. Maybe in Western Europe we don't. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that type of thing. Exactly, Marco. Great example. The car is being repaired. Okay. Okay. Shahuda wants to know if there's a good website or a book to learn styles of writing and complicated structures. I think, okay, there is a book called The Business Writer's Handbook. And it's quite expensive. It's maybe about 50 or 60 euros. I don't know how much it would be in your country. The Business Writer's Handbook. And it talks in great detail about style, about grammar, about form, about vocabulary usage. It's a really fabulous book. But, you can only do this if you're ready. If you are at the intermediate level and you go to, to business writing, I think it's a big leap. Really, the best thing you can do is say, okay, what type of writing do I want to do? Do I want to do legal text? Do I want to do articles for newspapers? Do I want to do scientific journals? Because for example, these three things, they have advanced English, right? But they're all very different in style, in vocabulary, in format. So rather than say, I'm going to learn advanced structures, say, okay, I want to write a newspaper article. And then, input, output, read a lot of newspaper articles from different papers, and then start writing some newspaper articles. Copy the structures. Look at the length of the paragraph, the length of the sentences. It's really, I think, like that. And then when you feel comfortable with your newspaper writing, practice writing some scientific papers. And just keep going like that. Keep going like that. Okay, Sanket has a question. If somebody gives you some sad news, then how do you say sorry? Okay. Great question, Sanket. Great question. So, remember that language reflects culture, right? And man, in English, we love to say sorry. We love to say sorry. Like, if I'm standing, looking at my telephone, okay, and somebody walks into me, okay, then I say, oh, sorry. I didn't do anything. It's not my fault. I'm the victim, but I say sorry. And then he says sorry, and we say sorry, and this is English culture, okay? So the number one thing is, yes, to say sorry. For example, someone says, I failed my exam. Oops. Exam failed. You could say, I'm so sorry. Oops. Or, I don't know, what else would I say? I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe you could say, that's a shame. And, I think that you could use this for anything. if you have a car accident, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. Or if you lose your money, I'm sorry to hear that. But if somebody dies, okay, if you're talking about death, we have a special one for a dead person, okay? We say, my deepest condolences. Condolences. My deepest condolences. You could also say my deepest sympathies. My deepest sympathies. But yes, you would only say this for a dead person. If you fail your exam, you don't say, "Oh, my deepest condolences." It's too strong. Okay, so a great question here from Paluxio. I think I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Paluxio. I hope so. He or she, I don't know, Paluxio, if you're a boy or a girl, sorry, wants to know, what does this word mean, Glee? Because there's a television program called Glee, and it's also a noun. You can say, you could say, I am filled with glee. Glee is a synonym for happiness. But it's more, it's like super, super happy. And it's a really, for me, it's like an excited glee. Glee is when somebody tells you that you won the lottery, like, oh my God! It's like happy, sort of high, shouting, excited glee. It's joy and happiness combined. So I think in the television program it's because they're dancing and they're happy and So Sajeev is asking about an old English word. Which is thee. And the partner of thee was thou. Right? And if you read Shakespeare, then you will see thee and thou. And now in modern English, this doesn't exist, but these words were similar to what exist in European languages now. They are pronouns, and they mean you. But in Old English, you had more options. You could say you singular you, or you could say you plural. And Spanish languages, like French and Portuguese and Spanish and maybe German, you have singular you and plural you. But we lost this in English. We lost it. And also in Old English, you had the option of being polite or not polite. The same as, yes, exists in Spanish and French and, the tu, vous, okay? It's the similar system existed in English. A polite you and an impolite you, but it's all gone. Thanks to the Vikings. The Vikings with their helmets with the horns. Actually, Viking helmets didn't have horns, but anyway. They simplified English because they were foreigners and they wanted to communicate, so they spoke simple English, and because of the Vikings, things like this happened in English, and it's great for you because it's much more simple. So I hope that answers your question. Taylor wants to know if you can use the word among with a superlative. Oh. So here's an example of among being used with a superlative. For example, you are among the best students I have ever taught. So yes, absolutely. Among means between, in a group, surrounded by a group. So yes, there's no reason why you can't say that. I see no reason why not. I would say that. I don't think there's a rule about that. Among the best, among the worst, among the hottest, the coldest. Yeah, well, what's the problem? No problems. So Maria del Huerto says that she's happy because summer is coming. Well, winter is coming here in Spain. Starting tomorrow, it's going to rain every day for 10 days, I think, which is going to be a big shock. And that's why I was cutting wood and my head. Okay, Tiparat Pangsang wants to know the difference between house and home. It's a great question, great question. Okay, so house it's a place, it's a building, okay? You have your white house or your grey house or your house. But home is not a building. Home is a concept. It's a place where you feel comfortable and where you live. So a house could be a home, or it could not be a home, or a home could be a house or not a house. For example, this office, this school, I could say is my home. It's not a house, but I spend a lot of time here. All of my emotional energy is here. You could say that this school is my home, my spiritual home, but it's not a house. And one other little difference, okay, is that because home is a concept, okay, we don't normally use it with articles, okay? So I am going home. But you don't use possessive adjectives or articles or, okay? If you're talking about the concept. But with a house, yes, you'd say I'm going to my house. And it's interesting, notice we add the possessive, but also we add to, right? Very strange, very strange. Because remember that to indicates a movement to a destination. Going to the supermarket, I give the pencil to you, okay? It's a direction, okay? So now home is a concept. It exists in the ether, in the universe. It's not somewhere that you can, because it's not a place. So that's why we don't use to or a possessive, okay, normally. Going home. I hope that answers your question. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Okay, Patricia wants to know about the difference between start and begin. They are what I would say are perfect synonyms. Okay. I'm not exactly sure, but I suspect that start maybe is, I don't know, French, and begin is Latin, probably. I think they are synonyms from two different languages. Okay, this is my instinct. But yeah, they're synonyms, and they have partners, right? So you have start and finish, and you have begin and end. And it's really strange because normally we don't mix. You don't say start and end, you say start and finish. And you don't say begin and finish, you say begin and end. And I think the difference is the words that we use them with, the collocations. I think that in most cases you could use both. The film will start in 5 minutes, the film will begin in 5 minutes, the film finishes at 5 o'clock, the film ends at 5 o'clock. I think they're synonyms, but in some cases they have specific collocations, okay? That's my 30-second explanation. So, Poluxia was asking about, could I explain defining relative clauses? I don't really have the time, but listen, I made a video, okay, exactly about defining and non-defining clauses, which explains everything. But basically, a defining clause is one that defines the first part of the clause. It cannot exist on its own. It's not independent. And that's the difference. But if you Google for the video, if you Google Kangaroo English sentences, I explain this, okay? You should check it out. It's a long video, like 27 minutes or something. Okay, Amir wants to know the difference between differentiate and discriminate. And no, they're not the same. They're definitely not the same. Okay, so to differentiate only means to discover and show the differences between things. So I could say that I differentiate this and this because this is a chalk and this is an eraser. They're totally different. I'm differentiating the two. Discrimination is when I use the difference, to say that I like or don't like something. I hate this. I hate this. That's discrimination. But yes, before you can discriminate, you need to differentiate, right? Anything. You could differentiate between people who have money and people who don't have money. And then you can discriminate against rich people or poor people. You can differentiate skin color and then discriminate. You can discriminate against people with different accents. All of this stuff is a problem in today's society, unfortunately. So Rain in Tripoli has a great question. Okay. Okay, so there's a place, well, there's various places all throughout the world called this, okay? Now, the modern British pronunciation of this word is Greenwich. Which, which is nothing like the spelling, you know, because here we have two E's, it should be E, right? E. And Rain in Tripoli is asking the W. What about this? Why is it not Greenwich? It should be Greenwich. And the answer is that in the past, it was Greenwich. It was actually more like Greenwich. This CH was very German. But with time it's softened. It went from ch to sh and then ch, Greenwich. Okay? So it's a product of the changing pronunciation of English. But when the word was first written down, yes, we did pronounce the E and the W, Greenwich. But now no, I'm sorry. This is part of the problem with English. Okay. Yes, Sanket, it's true that Australian English is more similar to British English than American English because of history, right? The colonies, prisoners. There's a great comment here from Jenny Lasker who says that she had a friend from Manchester and her friend called her Duck. In Northern English, duck or ducky is a term of endearment. It's a bit like saying, it's a word you use to be nice. You know, in Spanish, maybe you would say, you know, cariño or corazón, or, you know, in English you'd say like sweetheart or darling. And in the North they say duck or ducky. And also they can say pet. Pet, you know, like a dog or a cat. Pet say, oh, how are you, pet? Are you having a good day, pet? Or, oh, Ducky. Ducky, you need a cup of tea, Ducky. You look thirsty. It's brilliant, isn't it? I love that. Okay, Tiago wants me to draw something. Okay. I'm going to draw something, and you have to guess what it is. I think this is a good idea. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay. Now I want you to tell me the complete story. What's happening here in this? I want the noun and the verb and the place, everything. Oh no. Okay, maybe I need to draw. This is important, okay? This is This is the an elephant ringing a bell. No, it's not. It's a mirror. It's a mirror. Okay, a mirror. So what? Hey, Pavel, my man. You have it correct. But what is he? Look. What about this? Huh? On the feet of the elephant. Wow. Okay. Alexander Koenig says, an elephant saw himself in the mirror and was so shocked about his beard, he decided to shave it. Exactly. Alex Kowalchuk, he's skating, he's on roller skates. It's no Sanket, it's not an octopus. So yes, it's an elephant shaving his beard on roller skates. If anybody would like a signed copy of this picture, you can deposit 1,000 euros into my account. I will send you a signed copy. You know that my artwork has the same value as Salvador Dali, Picasso. I'm a modern impressionist legend. T-shirts, yeah. The elephant. Why not? Or Gaudi, yeah, Gaudi. Okay, so since we are here, what is some vocabulary? Okay, what's this called? This thing. Who can tell me? Very good, Chandra. Pavel, no. It's called a trunk. A trunk. Not a trump. A trunk with a K. Very important with the trunk. And then I think, we have ears and eyes but what other interesting parts of the elephant? I forgot this. Wow. The things? What are they called? They are made of ivory. The material is ivory, but what are they called? Almost, Sanket, almost. They are like similar to teeth. You're very close. A lot of people are very close, but not. Okay, again, Chandra, man, you're fast. Tusk. They are tusks. The president of the EU Parliament is called Donald Tusk. Donald Elephant Tooth. Now there's a difference in English between fangs, which are teeth, right? Fangs. Like vampires have fangs. And tusks. Now, I think I know the difference. Now, a horn is on the head. A horn is on the head and it is made of bone, right? But a tusk comes from the mouth, from the jaw, and I think, it's made of ivory. And I'm not sure if that's a different material from bone. Is it calcium? I'm not sure. So yeah, fangs. Fangs would be like spiders have fangs. Vampires, Dracula. Okay, who wants to hear my African animal joke? Okay, this is my best joke ever, African animal joke. What's the difference between a hippo, a hippopotamus, and a zippo? A zippo is a, zippo. What's the difference between a hippo and a zippo? Yes, it's for... Luciano has the best answer. Many differences. You're right, many differences. Okay, so the difference is one is really heavy. One of them is really heavy, the hippo. And the other one is a little lighter. A little lighter. So the joke is that here this is lighter. The word lighter could be the lighter, or it could be the comparative of light. The hippo is really heavy, and the other one is a little lighter. So one of my little 8-year-old students told me a Spanish joke in class yesterday. It's a really simple joke, but I love stupid jokes, right? So I know, Alexander, it's a crap joke. It's a crap joke. But the joke in Spanish is basically, okay. Había un incendio muy grande en un zoo. Sospechan a las llamas. So basically, in English, the joke is that there was a big fire in a zoo. A really big fire in a zoo. And the main suspect is the llama, or the llamas, right? Why? Because in Spanish, llama is the animal, okay, the animal from Peru. And also in Spanish, llama means flame. Flame or fire. So basically, when you say you are suspecting the llamas, you're saying that the main suspect is the flames. So, it's a play on words. But I like these dumb jokes. They're my favorite. Yes, this is a pun, exactly. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so Areda says that walruses have 18 teeth. 2 canine teeth in the upper jaw are modified to long ivory tusks. Wow. Okay. Okay, well, guys, unfortunately, I have to go because in 1 minute I have a student coming, the amazing Rosa, who is a very talented scientist here not just in Spain, but in Europe. So we're going to have a class and talk about science stuff. I love it. I love it. So yes, if you would like to see more content from me, then get on Facebook in the Facebook group. Follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is lit. And yes, of course, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. On Friday this week, I am uploading a new video, which is something a little bit more abstract. It's about how to have a discussion. And it's a subject that's really close to my heart because I think that in today's world, there are too many people who don't know how to have a civilized discussion. They just want to argue and they want to divide. And this class, I hope, it's my small contribution to improving the dialogue between the people of the world. So on Friday you can check out my class about how to have a discussion like an adult. So yes, thank you guys. You guys are the best students in the world. And I'll see you again in a few days. Bye.